Hi again, everyone. It is Super Otaku,
And Braille.
and we are Paired Gamers, bringing you another episode of Ark Survival, how to make it on the Ark. If you saw last time, we built this little house here. We've made some improvements. We finally got our beds down to set our spawn points, a couple more boxes. So we've got quite a few things to go over today. We're going to possibly upgrade this to a wood house. We're going to work on taming some dinosaurs. We have a couple around us that have spawned in that we want to try and tame. And we'll just see where that gets us. So we'll start with that. So first things first, there was a triceratops around here, affectionately known as the trike, who is a really good early tame. There we go. It's right over here. Now, taming for most dinosaurs involves knocking them unconscious. There's a melee weapon, a club, that you can do that early on. And your first range option is actually down here in my bar. It's a slingshot. And this will shoot rocks. You have to have rocks in your inventory. And this will build up what's called torpor. And torpor is the stat you need to build up to knock a creature out. Now, triceratops will attack you if you attack them, and they can kill you pretty easily, but they are also fairly easy to kite. So we'll see if we can't do this without dying. They do take reduced damage for headshots, so you want to aim for the body and try and circle around them as best you can. And land shots on the body, and we'll just do this until we get it knocked out, hopefully. If you keep spinning in a circle, it shouldn't be able to hit you. But trikes are also a pack animal, so if you do this with other triceratops around you, they'll come and join the fray, and this becomes way harder, and you will probably die. Oh, so that one hit him in the head and only did 1 damage. Gotta make sure to get a full draw on the slingshot and hit him in the body. We got Freya Lee helping out as well, so should be able to bring this guy down. I say guy, but I also believe it's a female. Oh, and then if your slingshot breaks, you're in trouble. Oh, it's starting to run away. Melee punches with your fists also build up torpidity. So, in a pinch, you can try and punch it. Finish it off. Alright, and we've knocked it unconscious. Not quite exactly as planned, but we got there. Once unconscious, the real fun starts. You can access its inventory, and you need to put food on it to start taming it. And the triceratops is an herbivore, so we will need berries. And we'll eat just about any berries, but the major berries are the best for taming creatures. The best berry to tame creatures, I should say. There is kibble, which is a cooked recipe that works even better, but we'll do that in a later episode. Something this early, major berries will be more than enough. Now, if you lose your tame when you knock it unconscious and you can't find it, there's a taming list menu, and it'll show you anything that your tribe has knocked unconscious. And if you click it, it will put a little track symbol on it, and then it'll show you in the world map where it's at. You come over and you put food on it. It's already eaten 1, 2. If we leave, we can see the taming progress go up. It looks like we got about 3% per berry, so this will need to eat 30 or so berries, 33 berries. And the other stat, the unconscious stat, that's its torpidity, you can see here, slowly drops down. Now if this runs out before it's fully tamed, the creature will wake up, anything you have in its inventory will be lost, and you'll have to start the process over again. You can also see that process almost killed this triceratops, so if it does wake up and we were to try again, it would die, it would not go unconscious. So that's something to be mindful of. Now, you can try and force feed this by using the use button, but all that will do is fill up its food stat, so it won't eat by itself, and will actually decrease your taming effectiveness. Taming effectiveness is a stat over here you can see in the tracking menu, and this is based off the type of food you give it and if you dealt it and if it takes any damage while unconscious. So if it takes no damage while unconscious and you use the best food, you can get in the upper 90s of taming effectiveness. Taming effectiveness will always give you bonus levels based on how well it is, and the highest you can get will be half of the creature's level minus 1. Because you can't ever get 100% taming effectiveness, you will always lose at least 1 level, so you can't get a perfect half. So as things progress, right now we're adding 20 levels to this creature, so it's tamed to be a 65, but as you can see, the taming effectiveness will be dropping slowly as it eats, because berries are not the ideal taming food. But as you can see as well, it's also taming faster than it's losing torpidity. So we don't need to do anything to keep this creature unconscious. This will fill up first before it'll wake up. But that's where narco berries and narcotics come in. I just got a couple there. These berries will help keep it unconscious. So if you feed it those, you can force feed that without losing taming effectiveness. The torpidity will actually start to go up. And it's only a little bit per berry, but if you feed a bunch of berries all at once, you can have this continuously going up versus going down. And while it's going up, it's not going down, so you're not losing torpidity as you're gaining it. So feeding a whole bunch all at once from a low torpidity is a good strategy because it'll offset the loss as well as increase the torpidity. And most creatures can be ridden with saddles. This creature, the Triceratops saddle, we learn, or can learn, at, I believe it's level 16. Yep. So there's the engram for the trike saddle and what it needs to make. Fraley has already learned this for us and might have even crafted it for us already. So we just need to wait for this thing to be tamed, and then we will have our first rideable mount. And that is the aggressive taming method. There's also a passive taming method, which I'll show you here in a second. Just gonna handle this guy.
Also need you with arrows.
Thank you very much. And we're showing you the basics. We've took some time to level up a little bit. As you can see, right there, Fraley's already level 33. I'm only level 20 or 21 now. But I'm going to show you a good way to get experience on top of everything we learned in the first video. But first we will learn about passive taming. This dino here, the Lystrosaurus, is very common on the beach. It's completely passive. Even if you attack it, it runs away. This is a good early source for hide, and a lot of new players will just kill these outright, but this is actually a really good tame early on to help your other tames. Now, as you can see when you walk up to the Lystrosaurus, it says put taming food in last item slot to feed. That's an indicator that the creature can be tamed passively if you have the right taming food. Lystrosaurus is an herbivore, so if we put berries in the slot, we can feed a Majo berry to tame it. So if we push the use button to tame, we get taming progress on it, and we have to wait until it's hungry again as it wanders around. Just like with our Triceratops now, we can track it so we don't ever lose its position, and we can see our taming effectiveness as well as its hunger fall. And then we just have to wait for it to be hungry again, and we can come up and feed it until it's tamed. Now there's a good amount of information on the wiki about what food is best for taming creatures and of what levels, etc. Because the higher level it is, the more food or the more times you have to feed something. So it's a good place to check. Just Google the creature's name, and you'll pull up the wiki. It's the first site usually, and it has a ton of good information as well as good uses for the creatures and what kind of stats you'd want to level up. Because once you have these creatures, your tames, you can level up, and you can use their stat or up their stats and basically level them up for whatever you need them for, whether that be a pack mule or a combatant you know, a fast flyer, etc. If you're playing on official server or official settings, you won't tame quite as fast as we are. We do have increased taming effectiveness set up just for the sake of that's how we like to play personally, and to help these tutorial videos along. We're already half done with this lady here, and our Triceratops, you can see, is also just about halfway done. These are going to be your early game herbivore tames that are easy to get and help you out. Triceratops is great at gathering berries, so when I gather by hand, I only get a few of each berry each time for each bush, whereas the Triceratops will get a whole lot more piles and piles. And as we're progressing and starting to learn narcotic and bow and arrow and tranquilizer arrows and things like that, we will need a good supply of narcotic berries, as well as the major berries to help tame some of the herbivores. And then all the other berries are also used in various cooking recipes that we'll go over later on as well, for making stuff like kibble and food for ourselves that's really good. Okay, I think we only need 1 or 2 more times on this one here. Triceratops is almost 60%. You also get to name a creature each time you tame it, and you can change the name, so don't worry about having to come up with one on the spot. Our go-to naming method is usually to just use part of the creature's name, and or some form of combination of the characters. For example, we'll call this little lady Liz. And we can come into the menu here and untrack it, so that'll disappear. And you can see that it got some levels. It's currently following me, so if I move, it follows me. And then we have some commands that we can use on the keyboard. So we're playing mouse keyboard for whistles. If you're playing on console, I don't know those commands unfortunately, but they are there. So if I look at it and I push Y, I can tell it to stop following me, and that's a single target whistle. If I push T, I can tell it to follow me, and again, that's a single target whistle. If I push U, that is a whistle to tell every dinosaur that can hear me to stop following me. And if I push J, that's a whistle to tell all the dinosaurs that can hear me to follow me. Also good ones are comma and period. Comma will tell all the dinosaurs that can hear it to move to a specific spot, whereas period can be used to target and something I want everyone to attack. That won't apply here, so it's not doing anything. So we'll have this follow me back over closer to the house here. And then we'll go into its inventory and look at its stats while we're waiting for the trike to tame. Okay, so just like with anything else, E gives me a command to pet it. If I push F, I can go into its inventory. We can see its health, stamina, oxygen, food, carry weight, melee, movement speed, and we can also see its XP. It's about to level up. Show Ancestors is a tab that will show you if your breeding line. So because this was tamed from the wild, there's nothing here to show under Parents. But if this had been something that we bred from a wild tamed mother and a wild tamed father, then it would have the names and the IDs of the 2 parents that it came from. And this is important for tracking a bunch of the stats and mutations and a lot of stuff like that. But again, breeding we'll cover in another video. It's quite extensive. So once it gets a level, just like with yourself, you get to choose what you want to level up. These creatures, they don't fight in combat, they don't carry stuff, they're not something that you use to try and move around on. So the best thing is just to keep their HP up, so they're harder to kill if they happen to have a wild dinosaur invade your camp. So for now we will leave this one here. You can see it's starving. It has no food in its inventory, so it's not eating. But if I put some berries in there, it will eat the berries. So this is where having a berry gatherer also comes in handy, because it will help to feed your other herbivore dinosaurs. Now, and we have a loot drop that came down right in front of us. That's quite lucky. So all over the map, you will see, or may see, beams of light coming down from the sky. There's another one over there. They're color coded. And the color represents the difficulty to open them, basically, based on your level. So a green, I think, only needs to be level 15. So you can come up to this supply crate and access the inventory, and you will get some free items. This is used mostly to entice players to fight over resources in PvP. As I mentioned, this is originally a PvP game. Just in single player though, it's a nice little bonus boon of items. And there's Fraley on our new Triceratops. So we'll stop tracking it for now. And you can see that it gained some bonus levels. That is level 65 now. Hasn't been leveled up quite yet, and this is probably from just a few swings of the head harvesting all these berries here. When you come up to it, you can push E if it has a saddle to ride on it, and then it walks pretty slow, but it can sprint just like you can. When you're on a tame, in the top right corner you have the tame stats, so its health, its stamina, its hunger, its carry weight, and whether or not it has a level. Kind of inverse to yours. So as you can see, it stamina drains pretty fast. This is kind of a lower level one. This isn't going to get us across the map any time soon or anything like that, but with a left click it gives a headbutt, and if you hold your alternate, your right click, it will charge up, and when you release, it'll charge and do a tackle. This can gather stuff, as well as if this collides with a dinosaur, it will, or a player, it will stun them. I don't think it works on your teammates. Nope, it doesn't work on your teammates. That's good. You can use your left click to gather berries. That's 2 or 3 times what I would get by gathering from hand from a single bush. You see, I just hit 4 bushes there, and that's all the berries we end up with. And it can gather some wood and thatch from trees. It gathers thatch more than wood, so if you need wood, this is not the way to go. You're better off doing it by hand. And then the real benefit of this little guy lies here. Now that if we pet it, it does this animation, and you can see this green up arrow. You can see this green up arrow is also affecting the Triceratops. And when we jump on the Triceratops, we can hold H to see what those up arrows in the top right corner are. It's fast learner is what it's affected by. That gives everything within range an increase to XP gain. I believe it lasts for 5 minutes every time you pet it, and you can constantly pet it. So once it's done, you can re-pet it and re-trigger the buff. So this, just sitting here, is increasing the XP gained by the Triceratops and by itself. It doesn't affect me or Fraley, unfortunately, but there are other ways for us to level up. So I'll get into that now. Put away our berries here, so we want to hold on to these.
Do you have a preserving bin? If you wanted to call it that.
Oh, yes, preserving bin. So you might think at this point, where are you going to store all your berries and all your food and everything? So out here, Fraley has made a preserving bin, which is kind of like a rudimentary refrigerator, using spark powder, this resource right here, which is crafted in the mortar and pestle. This fuels the preserving bin, and it will actually increase the time that things stay fresh. So if I hover over my major berries, you can see that it will spoil in 6 minutes and 5 seconds. If I move it to the preserving bin, you can see that it will last an hour and 45 seconds. So things will last much, much longer in the preserving bin versus in your own inventory. Same with raw meat. This expires in 4 minutes and 6 seconds. In here we have 41 minutes and 2 seconds. So this is a great way to keep things preserved for longer. It's really good for keeping cooked meat for a long time. And there is an added benefit. We actually have a little bit of oil. I'll show you guys here. If you add oil into the preserving bin when you have cooked food, like meat, you'll begin making cooked meat jerky. These are essentially the exact same as the cooked meat. They provide the same amount of food and healing, but these last much, much longer than the cooked version. So jerky is a good way to, turning your meat into jerky is a good way to preserve it over a long time. We'll do that a bit later. I do have a bow now, and I got myself some trank arrows. So the bow is going to be your first real ranged weapon that can do damage, as well as because of these trank arrows that I found, these will increase torpidity, so I can use these to knock out creatures rather than have to rely on a slingshot or a club. And then as we progress, there's eventually a rifle that we can get and some tranquilizer darts we can get at an even higher level. For now, this is going to be more than enough to help us knock out the creatures that we need. Put some stuff away here. Oh, this item I didn't go over. This is an engram. So this is the same thing as that I can make or learn to make in here. So wood shield. So here at level 12 for 7 engram points I can learn to make a wooden shield. It has a durability of 350 and it is what it says, it's just a shield. But because I found this in a supply drop, I can craft this wooden shield here, and it costs more materials than a normal wooden shield. You see this blue tint? It is an apprentice, which is indicated by blue and the word apprentice in the title, and it has 808 durability. It takes more resources, but it also lasts a lot longer. So engrams are a great find because they allow you to make things that you haven't necessarily learned, and when it comes to weapons and armor, it allows you to make better versions than what you could make. Need some wood, some hide, some fiber. And engrams are usable any number of times. So I made one there, but I still have the engram. So engrams are worth holding on to. There is an item we can make later called a bookshelf that holds just engrams, and it is good for holding all of the engrams you want to keep. So with a shield, we can equip that in our offhand here. And while we have a bow, we don't have the shield because this makes use of our right click to aim. But if I were to switch to a spear, spear might not work either. Spear's two-handed. So while I have like a pick, or if I have a sword or a one-handed weapon, my right click is now to block attacks with the spear or with the shield, and then I can attack or use my tool with my other hand. Alright guys, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. If you found this video enjoyable, please leave a like and a subscribe, and make sure to turn those notifications on so you can see our future content. And we will see you guys next time. Thanks. Bye.